One evening, Jasmine was hanging out with her group of friends and shared what the old man had said to her.
Y'all know what's crazy?
Jasmine asks her friends.
What is?
Her friend Jacob replies.
I was taking a walk to the park yesterday, and as I stopped, something told me to speak to an old man who was sitting on a bench.
She continues.
Yes, and?
Her friend Jella asks.
Well, he said something weird as we spoke, and I don't know why. But it spoke to me for some reason.
She says.
And what was that weird thing that old fart say?
Her other friend Jake asks.
Well, he said that even if we don't believe in God, he sees us and loves us. And that there's a purpose for our lives, even if we don't see it yet.
She says. Her guy friends laugh out loud, thinking that it was the funniest thing they ever heard.
That's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
If God is so real, where is he? I want him to give me a harem of girls.
Her friend Mark says as he laughs.
After all, he's like the genie from Aladdin, right? Making all of our dreams come true.
Jacob says, as Mark continues laughing his guts out. Jake says as his belly hurts from his laughter. But it struck one of her friends in particular.
That's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Jella paused and zoned out for a moment because she had been struggling with similar feelings of aimlessness and emptiness, and the old man's words gave her a glimmer of hope.
What should we order? Oh man, we had a good laugh.
Mark says.
I don't know, man. Let's see.
Jacob replies. As the others spoke, Jella made a decision to give God a chance in her life.
I still don't get why it was funny.
Jasmine says.
I gotta go, guys.
Jella says.
Already?
Mark asks.
Where are you going?
Jasmine asks.
Something came up at home.
She replies.
For real? We were just getting to the best part.
Jacob says.
See you around, babe.
Mark says.
She's not even your girl yet, man. Chill.
Jacob jokingly says. Then Jella leaves the bar.
She'll soon be, just watch.
Mark says in a flirty manner. Then Jasmine wonders why Jella all of a sudden left. As time passed, Jella started attending church, learning more about who Jesus Christ was, and prayed for the first time in her entire life in church. She then started reading the Bible more often by herself. She also spoke to the Lord and prayed whenever she could. As she delved deeper into her newfound beliefs, she began to feel a sense of purpose and direction in her life. One afternoon, Jella receives a call from her best friend, Jasmine.
Hey, Jella, are you coming to the party tonight?
Jasmine asks.
I'm sorry, I won't be able to make it.
Jella replies.
Why not?
She asks.
Well, I have Bible study tonight, so I won't be able to make it.
Jella says.
So Bible study is more important than us now?
Jasmine angrily says.
Well, each thing has its own time, you know.
Jella replies.
What? You think you're better than us now just because you're a Christian now?
Jasmine assumes.
What? I never thought that.
Jella sadly says.
You know what? Forget it. Whatever.
She angrily says, then hangs up on her.
Hello?
Jella calls
Hello?
as she stays on the call.
Did she hang up on me?
She sadly asks herself. Days later, Jella changes her outside appearance as a symbol of being a newfound Christian and follower of Christ. But deep down, she knew that the outside didn't matter, but her heart mostly did. She then got baptized
by the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
I am born again.
Hallelujah!
People applauded as she lifted her hands high and prayed with all her heart. She found comfort in the teachings of the Bible, and the community of believers at the church may have provided her with a sense of belonging. God guided her path and eventually brought a godly man in her life, a handsome man named James. James fell in love at first sight with Jella because of the light she brings and her love for God she has in her. He noticed her first when he was at a baptism event that was held. When he saw her lifting her hand up to God with all her heart and prayed, he was moved. He eventually started seeing her more often, wherever he went.
Give and
So he decided to finally meet her.
Hello, I'm James Godley.
James introduces himself.
Hi, I'm Jella. Jella Roxy.
Jella replies. They both get to know each other and eventually became friends. They would go on events together, share their faith with each other, and read the Bible together. From there, God used each of them for his good. During their journey and walk with God, they fell in love. James confessed his undying love he had for Jella ever since he saw her.
I'm in love with you, Jella.
James confesses. Jella stood still with shock and happiness, and they became a lovely couple. They continued praying together like they always did and spend more quality time together. Months later, as James and Jella were walking together, James brings her to a beautiful place. Jella looks around as she stood still, gazing at the beauty of the place in which she's at.
Wow, this is so beautiful, James.
She happily says as she continues looking at the beautiful trees.
Jella.
James gently calls. As Jella turns around to meet James's eyes, she sees him on one knee.
James.
She says as she looks at him with shock.
James, what are you?
As Jella was about to finish her sentence, James interrupts her.
Jella, I love you more than my heart contains. Words only are not enough. God brought you into my life and made it so much more blessed. I want to make you mine forever, and I want to make you the happiest woman in the world.
James says as he stood on one knee. James, deep inside his heart all along, knew that she was the one for him.
James, I don't know what to say. This is so emotional.
Jella says, as she stood still, with her eyes filled with happiness. James looks at Jella as he continues his confession.
Will you marry me and make me the luckiest man in the world, Jella?
He finally says.
Yes, I will. I love you so much, James.
Jella says with a happy smile. James then takes the ring from the ring case and puts it on the finger of his fiancée, Jella.
How does it look on me?
Jella happily asks.
You look beautiful as always.
James replies. They both share a warm hug, knowing that from this day on, they are one.
Thank you, James, for choosing me.
Jella happily says. One morning, Jella was super excited for her new life with James and couldn't keep the good news from her close friends. So the first person that came in mind to spill the beans to was her best friend Jasmine. However, Jella's newfound faith caused a rift in her friendship with Jasmine. It seems that Jasmine may have felt threatened or uncomfortable with her friend's change in beliefs. They meet each other as Jella was on her way to Jasmine's place.
Jella?
Jasmine calls.
Jasmine, how have you been?
She asks with a smile.
I've been great, but what's wrong with you?
Jasmine asks.
What do you mean?
Jella replies.
Why don't you hang out with us like before anymore?
She asks.
I have Bible studies, and I need to have time with God.
Jella replies.
Jella, you've changed.
Jasmine disappointedly says.
In a good or bad way.
Jella asks, knowing what her response would be.
You're no longer the person I used to know.
Jasmine says as she felt betrayed.
I don't know what you want me to do, Jasmine. I was lost, but now I'm found.
Jella happily says.
It's all God's fault, isn't it?
Jasmine angrily says.
What? God changed me and made me a better person. Why can't you just be happy for me?
Jella sadly says.
Jenna, if you continue like this, I want nothing to do with you anymore.
When Jasmine threatened to cut ties with Jella if she continues believing in Jesus, it made Jella question whether her beliefs were worth losing a valued friendship over. This reaction may have made Jella consider the importance of her newfound faith in her life and whether it was worth sacrificing relationships for.
Jasmine, I didn't want to lose you as a friend, but if my love for Christ is something you don't respect, then I'd rather lose a friend than lose my relationship with God.
Jella says as Jasmine stood still in shock and disbelief.
Goodbye, Jasmine.
Jella says, then walks away. Jasmine, feeling a sense of loss, quietly stays still as she watches her best friend walking away, then disappears from a distance. Sometimes, in order for God to guide and use us, He shows you people's true hearts, through their words and through their actions. Jasmine knew that from there on, something truly changed inside her heart. She felt bittersweet, for she just realized that she had just lost her best friend.